Listening, fill in the blanks.
Let's start.
The malady occurs when most of the bees suddenly disappear from the hive, leaving it with only queens, eggs or pupae, the brood, and a few immature workers still remaining. The vanished bees, strangely never found, are thought to die singly far from home. The phenomenon is odd for various reasons. Firstly, bees never usually abandon a hive until the brood has hatched. Their sophisticated inbuilt navigation system allows them to forage up to 3 miles from the hive and return safely. Secondly, when a colony dies, the honey left behind is usually raided by bees from other hives, yet these bees avoid the hives completely. And lastly, the incidence of the malady is very erratic. Some beekeepers report heavy losses while their neighbors maintain healthy hives.
Employees will be expected to use collaboration and social media tools instead of email to communicate with co-workers. In English, that means newer types of electronic messaging services. One such service is instant messaging. Devised in the 1990s by people playing games on the net, instant messaging or IM is much simpler and more responsive than email. IM users can see when colleagues are online and times, then communicate in small, continuous trails of dialogues on their screens, much more like a phone call. These messages tend to be deleted as they go, thus avoiding clogged up email inboxes and archives. Less formal than email, they are also a far more efficient way of, for example, trying to arrange a meeting. LM or chat facilities often form part of larger social networks, such as Facebook and Twitter.
Humans, like other primates, have trichromatic, three-color vision, which evolutionists believe came about as a result of the need to distinguish easily between ripe and unripe fruit in a forest. But the influence of red and blue on our modern way of thinking is probably a learnt behavior rather than being innate, Dr. Zhu said. We think the difference between red and blue is due to learnt associations, she said. That's why I expect that if in another culture red is often associated with other meanings, we might not be able to replicate the results of this study. Thanks to stop signs, emergency vehicles and teachers' red pens, we associate red with danger, mistakes and caution. The avoidance motivation, or heightened state, that red activates makes us vigilant and so helps us to perform tasks where careful attention is required to produce a right or wrong answer.
Scientists remain puzzled by the decline in bee populations. However, they believe that there has been widespread damage to the bees' immune system. In America, bees are hauled around the country to pollinate crops. Their environment is altered to keep them working, by moving them to warmer spots in winter so that the queen keeps laying and producing more workers. One theory is that the bees' immune systems get damaged in the process. Another sees the cause in the disruptive effects of climate change, while others again trace it to one of two well-known bee diseases. When honey bees are kept as a business, for honey production or hired out to fruit farmers as pollinators, their colonies are kept close together. This allows disease to spread easily despite them being treated with antibiotics to keep them producing.
Flowering plants have evolved a variety of methods for signaling their usefulness to pollinators or for otherwise making their work easier. Butterflies are attracted to flowers that are open during the day, are bright, typically red, yellow, or orange, and have a landing platform. In contrast, many moths are active at night and thus are attracted to flowers that are pale or white, have a strong fragrance, but also have broad areas to land on. Both butterflies and moths have long tongues and have co-evolved with plants that have developed deep sources of nectar that are available only to certain species. Hummingbirds are also attracted by color, especially by bright reds, and flowers that attract these tiny birds also have strong stems and are designed for pollen to be brushed on the hummingbirds' heads as they sip nectar.
The United States formally took control of the canal property in 1904. This was following the passage of the Spooner Act by Congress in 1902, which authorized the purchase of the French company's assets and construction of the canal, provided that a treaty could be negotiated with Colombia. When treaty negotiations broke down, Panama, with the backing of the United States, declared its independence, which allowed the Hay-Buenaventura Treaty to be negotiated between the United States and Panama. As a newly established republic, Panama was seeking the protection of the United States, which the United States was willing to guarantee in exchange for control of a 16-kilometer strip across the Isthmus of Panama. The United States also agreed to pay Panama an initial sum of $10 million, as well as a $250,000 annuity that would begin 9 years after the opening of the canal.
Indications include playing every day, devoting long periods of time, sacrificing other activities, neglecting homework, and moodiness. The last two may describe many of our children, but Huckstadt suggests that where 4 or more of these factors exist, there may be cause for concern and a need for parents to step in. Games should be played as part of a healthy and balanced lifestyle, agrees Dr. Joe Twynham of UKIE, the UK games industry trade body. Players should take regular breaks. A good guide is 5 minutes rest every 45 to 60 minutes of gameplay. In light of this, appropriate gaming time is more about its impact on the child's wider life than a hard and fast time limit. As children get older, they will naturally integrate gaming among other activities, outside interests, friendship groups, and even homework, so the dividing line will become more blurred.
Cleanliness is perhaps renewable energy's biggest draw. Whereas fossil fuels require a combustion process, the use of an engine or turbine, to convert the energy into a form capable of performing the task at hand, renewable energy sources require none. No combustion means no emissions byproducts that cause the most common types of air pollution today, acid rain, smog, and climate change. How much cleaner are renewables? There is probably no single answer. However, consider the following 2 examples related to solar, photovoltaic systems, and wind energy. Based on the National Renewable Energy Laboratory reports, an average U.S. household uses 830 kilowatt-hours of electricity per month. On average, producing 1,000 kilowatt-hours of electricity with solar power reduces emissions by nearly 8 pounds of sulfur dioxide, 5 pounds of nitrogen oxides, and more than 1,400 pounds of carbon dioxide. During its projected 28 years of clean energy production, a rooftop system with 2-year payback and meeting half of a household's electricity use would avoid conventional electrical plant emissions of more than half a ton of sulfur dioxide, 1/3 a ton of nitrogen oxides, and 100 tons of carbon dioxide.
Black holes exist in 3 sizes. Compact ones, called star-mass black holes and which have been known to exist for some time, are believed to be the result of the death of a single star. When a star has consumed itself to the point that it no longer has the energy to support its mass, the core collapses and forms a black hole. Shock waves then bounce out, causing the shell of the star to explode. In a way that is not yet understood, the black hole may then re-energize too and create multiple explosions within the first few minutes of its existence. So-called supermassive black holes, also well documented, contain the mass of millions, or even billions of stars. And just recently one intermediate black hole, with about 500 times the mass of the Sun, has been discovered. Scientists have postulated that the intermediate black hole may provide a missing link in understanding the evolution of black holes.
Like, share, subscribe the channel and press the bell icon for further updates.